here, and I am so thrilled to be joined by, I would say, one of the voices of St. Louis, not just a voice on the Voice of St. Louis anymore, but one of the voices that is the soundtrack. Hey, Carol. Thank you so much for joining us to talk about your career, because as most people know, you are hanging up the headphones, hanging up the microphone, asking what you've been doing since 1995.
Since 95, do the math. I've been 28 years. April 17th, last month, was 28 years for me here at the Mighty Mox, as we used to call it.
Does it seem like it's gone by quickly, or does it feel like, man, this has been about 90% of my life?
It does feel like my whole life. It really does, because I came here a newlywed. We weren't homeowners yet. We certainly didn't have children. And so we moved here in April. In late May, we found out we were expecting our first child. And then July, 2 months later, we celebrated our 1-year anniversary. And then bought a house less than a year later. And so new city, new marriage, new baby, new house in a year and a half. Happened here. So I feel like this has been my entire life. And certainly if I look at my kids, they're 23 and 27.
You have to be present, you have to be engaged, whether you are interviewing. That is fast-paced, but now that you are retiring, stepping away from that, have you had a chance to reflect back on your career, or is it still too fresh right now?
It is fresh. It is really, really fresh. And it's also not real yet. It's not real yet. Check with me in August.
Yeah.
Because I intend to be a sloth as much as possible this summer before I leap into the next chapter. But it is so fresh, and I am thinking, I'm trying to remember a lot, and there's so much that I just don't even remember. People are telling me stories of meeting me and experiences they've had, and I don't remember. Michael Kelly told me the first time he met me. I don't remember. I don't remember that. I think my son was 4 years old when I first met Michael Kelly. He's now 27. I don't remember.
Yeah.
I've met so many people, and most people are gracious when they know that I'm not going to remember their names. I meet a lot of people, and people like me meet a lot of people, and I'm not good with names. I'm good with faces, but I'm not with names. I don't remember everything.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to work my way through some of those things. I can look at pictures and look at, I remember my hair. I remember that blouse. I remember what I was feeling then. I remember those things, but it is still very fresh.
Rather famously, you were working at a radio station in Cape Girardeau when at the time, the program manager from KMOX was driving through the area, heard your voice, and said, "Who is that?" They called the station, asked who you were, and said, "You need to apply for this job at KMOX at the Voice of St. Louis." And I know then your career here, we know your career here in St. Louis. How long were you in Cape Girardeau before you got that phone call?
I was working at KZIM radio in Cape Girardeau for 3.5 years, and at the time that I got that phone call. And then from the phone call to the on-air live interview here in St. Louis on a Saturday morning with Charlie Brown, I think it was it Mike Brown? Isn't that terrible? It was 2 weeks. So I was there 3.5 years working in Cape Girardeau, and I had been starting to look. My husband and I were starting to look for another job because we wanted to move and wanted to make more money, and so we had started looking, and then that call happened.
Did you always want to be a broadcaster?
No. No, that's such a great question because a lot of people, was 10 years old probably, I think.
When you started working here.
But I wanted to be a stewardess, which is what they were then.
Yep.
Flight attendant.
Right.
Wanted to be a stewardess, wanted to be a model, realized I was only 5'4", that wasn't going to happen. Didn't even think I was pretty enough either for the thing. I wanted to be a jewelry designer. I still would love to do that. I wanted to be a secretary even very, very early on, and I wanted to be a hairstylist.
So a lot of dreams.
A lot of dreams.
When you went to college, had you narrowed down your dreams?
That's a very good question also. I went to college as a business major. I just envisioned owning a company, working in corporate America. I also envisioned great suits and an eelskin briefcase. For whatever reason, it was always going to be an eelskin briefcase. That's all I could see. Glass building, big city. Yeah, tall glass building, big city. That I didn't know.
When you were in high school then even, leading up to college, were you talkative? Were you curious?
Yep.
Were you a leader? Okay, so your personality in high school...
Same as it is now.
Yeah.
I was captain of the cheerleading squad from the 8th grade, and to my freshman year of college, I was the cheerleader. This loud voice was helpful. Boom, this deep voice was very helpful. Resonance was very... that's not what I was told then. I was just loud. That's what I was always told. And but the captain, so I was always the leader, and I was the president of my senior class, but that really didn't, it was a popularity contest, and it just meant choosing the high school graduation theme song, maybe, and then a theme for prom. It didn't really carry any weight, but I definitely was always talkative. One of my favorite teachers, who will be here for my retirement, she used to have me read aloud in class. Most kids hated reading aloud in class. I always loved it. I loved reading. My mother was just reading anything. We had the whole Hardy Boys mysteries. We had all those books. Nancy Drew. We had all those books. I read everything and anything.
I love Nancy Drew. I would go to the library and check out all the Nancy Drew books, and yes, I love that. So then, if you were just, people said you were loud in high school, did anybody say, you should be in the news, you should be on TV, you should be in radio?
No one did, and even when I decided, when I transferred to Lincoln University in Jefferson City, were saying you should be on the radio, but there were people who were saying they didn't like my voice. It was to men. There was a handful of guys who were saying that my voice was not feminine. Yeah.
Because, and I imagine too, aren't those the same people that if they thought your voice were feminine, whatever that means, that they would also have an issue with that? How, I feel like you wouldn't be able to win. Your voice is too feminine. It's not feminine enough.
Well, I think the man who thinks my voice isn't feminine is the man who wants a rug for a woman. He wants someone that he can control. And my voice is a strong one and doesn't lend itself to thoughts of control, of being controlled.
Right. Well, and I'm glad you bring that up. When you entered the world of broadcasting, how was it for women? I am standing on the shoulders of giants when I entered into broadcasting or with the Blues. It was, no one said, oh, you can't do that, you're a woman. No one said that. When you entered into broadcasting, were you still chipping away, breaking away, sweeping up pieces of the glass ceiling?
For sure. There were still... And as a black woman as well, because there remain preconceived notions about what it means to be black. I think there are preconceived notions about what it means to be human. That you're supposed to be this or you're supposed to be that as a woman, as a Missourian, as an Illinoisan. We have all these preconceived notions about one another that don't fit. And so there, I was dealing with all of that, and being a strong-willed person makes it even more difficult, because in the era of television news, you know, women had to look a certain way, and